We got a nice little side slip going on here. Welcome, morning everybody, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name's Simon, and welcome to Flight Past. We are in the Huey, and we're at a place called Frasnes, and the date is the 16th of June 1815. And we are talking today about the retreat from Quatre Bras of Wellington. Now, yesterday, in the last part, we were talking about how Napoleon had come up onto Quatre Bras, found out that basically Ney hadn't been doing his job properly, and that the Allies had been slipping away without him knowing. And so we're going to pick up the story from there. You can see down below here, this is the battlefield of Quatre Bras, and where my white dot is where Wellington's positions were on the evening of the 16th and 17th. Wellington's cavalry had come up in the night, and they took positions in the line, and there was clashes in the evening of the early morning of the 17th. Around about 3 o'clock in the morning, there were pickets, lines clashing, but basically things were remaining pretty quiet over the night. And the army bivouacked here on the battlefield that you can see below us. We're looking south here towards the French positions. Now, Wellington would retire to Genappe, which is this village here, and he'll stay the night of the 16th, 17th here in Genappe. So it's good to see everybody again. Thank you very much for joining. And I see that a lot of you leave after about this time because you're obviously annoyed about something. But I would stick with me, because what we tend to do, we're just having a chat, a little discussion really, flying around, getting a little bit of a look at these battlefields and getting a good sense of the distances involved. And if you've not been following, then we have been doing a series of these flights all the way from Elba up to here now, which is just in South Belgium, following Napoleon's 100 days, basically, when he takes leave of Elba and decides to attack the Allies in Belgium. So if you haven't followed that, you can follow that now. Most of those videos are up on YouTube. We're getting to around about episode 60 over there, and so you can see the sort of pace that we're going. And it's basically a chance for you to join in and discuss what the events that are happening, and be part of the stream. Now, I've got my regular friend Guy at the back, and today he's wearing orange. Okay, so by this time, which is the sort of morning of the 17th, down here below us in this crossroads here at Quatre Bras, Wellington has around about 40,000 troops. So he, relative to Ney, who is down here in Frasnes, he's kind of won the battle of the build-up of troops, and he effectively won that because d'Erlon, who was going to be Ney's reserve, was called across over here to the battlefields of Ligny by Napoleon. And so Wellington managed to strengthen his position on this crossroads here. There's a slight ridge where this sort of dark field is here, coming across here into these woods which were around here. And so Wellington secured his position, and he was looking strong to go possibly onto the offensive on the 17th of June, but it depended what happened over there at the Ligny, battlefield of Ligny site. Wellington believed that he would be continuing operations here at Quatre Bras. Had even sent some orders out for his army to continue to concentrate there, and they were coming from this village here, where my white dot is now, called Nivelles, and they would start to arrive during the course of the evening and the morning. So he was definitely expecting to continue operations here at Quatre Bras. He had a line of communication with the Prussians at Ligny. His aide-de-camp, whose name was Harding, was in the Blücher's staff, and Muffling was the Prussian one on his staff. And they had been passing messages to and from each other, basically saying what was happening on each battlefield. And the last message that Wellington had received was that the Prussians were probably going to be in a position to hold the battlefield at Ligny. What had happened, though, in the we know, if you've been following, of course, the Prussians get pushed back from Ligny, and the message that was being ridden across, essentially from Bry via Marbais to Quatre Bras. The messenger had been cut off and couldn't get through. So we're looking essentially the messengers coming across from where my white dot is now, across here to Quatre Bras. And that message, the original message, the first message that Wellington received to say that the Prussians were going to hold the position, was around about 7 o'clock. And it was at 8:30 that message had arrived at Quatre Bras. And as I say, the message gets intercepted. Okay, we're just going across the crossroads right now. So in the morning, just summarizing what we were talking yesterday, Wellington comes back from Genappe, which is here. He rides back to the battlefield. He hasn't heard anything from Blücher that day, and he does send off patrols in the direction of Bry, trying to re-establish contact with the Prussians. And the patrols find it difficult to get across. They're always encountering French patrols themselves and French pickets, but they do manage to eventually get in contact with the Prussians. But it does take its time. All the time as well, through the positions, especially when he was back at Genappe, he was getting Prussian soldiers pulling back. So he obviously heard some rumours that there was some issue with the Prussian side. This is the battlefield of Quatre Bras, by the way, and so this is the road here. This is the positions of the French on the morning of the 17th. And when he gets here, Wellington, he discovers that it doesn't appear to be that the French are trying to make any effort to hurry up. They look like they were cooking their breakfast. And the news eventually gets to Wellington probably around about 7:30 in the morning to say that actually the Prussians have been defeated at Ligny and they are in retreat. And all through this time as well, because the French are doesn't seem to be in a rush, Wellington allows his men to recuperate, have and cook up breakfast before deciding to move on. And just around about this time as well, we start getting a report that the contact is made around about 8 a.m. Contact is made with the Prussian staff headquarters. And remember, they were in a place called Mellery, and they were then heading back up towards Wavre. And the message comes through from Genappe now, basically to say that his intention was to fall back to Wavre and to feed and resupply his men. And that he believed that this would take at least a day. And remember, Gleisner hadn't actually found his ammunition supply train at the moment, and at this time. So Wellington decides, okay, well, he decides to pull back. He passes a message on to the French, to the Prussian officer, to pass back to the Prussians, saying that his intention was to fall back on the position, the ridge at Mont St Jean, and that if the Prussians could get to that position by the 18th with at least one corps, then he will endeavour to engage Napoleon at that place. Failing that, then his intentions, and he made it completely clear, he would fall back not just to Brussels, but through Brussels to the port of Antwerp. Basically, he'll be falling back to a position which is a fortified port, which would enable him to be evacuated, the British Army to be evacuated if it needed to be. And this is a tactic that Wellington had used a lot in the peninsula. He fell back on Lisbon all the time. He wasn't ashamed to fall back, recoup, and then come back out again when it was more favourable. How that would have left the Prussians. Well, we can let's have a little look at the map and see what we think would have happened. Let's play a little bit of what if. So this is Europe, and we're up here in Belgium. We're currently just to the north of Charleroi, at these crossroads where the number 3 is. So the message has arrived, and to say that the Prussians are falling back to Wavre, which is where that number 5 is. And Wellington says, well, we have to pull back too, and so we're going to fall back on the position number 6 here, which is the ridge of Mont St Jean. there he's basically saying, we'll wait for your message. If you can come from Waterloo to me with at least one corps, then he makes a stand here, and if not, he will pull back. And when he says pull back, I mean he pulls back. He's got no intention of defending Brussels, and these Napoleonic armies don't operate well in built-up areas, and so he will pull straight back up this road here, and he will go to Antwerp, and that's where presumably he will then make some sort of stand preparations, and even either sit it out there or pull out completely. What would that leave the Prussians with? Well, I mean, they're essentially their supply routes run through Maastricht or Liège back towards Rhineland here. It would probably mean that they would, if they couldn't make it, they either just disengage completely to the north, to the northeast, and endeavour to get back to Germany in some way. I don't think you would have them moving to Antwerp. They might move in parallel. You never know. They could have moved in parallel, done the same thing, and just moved back up to somewhere, possibly here, Westerlo here, this sort of area, so that they had the option of supporting Wellington still, but of being able to pull back if they had. And because remember, the time, these Allies armies are trying to buy time, and because they are expecting the Prussians to arrive over here at the Lower Rhine area sometime by the end of the summer, July time, August. So obviously this position here, I believe, which is position of Mont St Jean, we know that Wellington knew about this position, and he probably knew about it in at least 1814. He's always had an eye for topography. They would have. He's got a signal corps who goes out, and they probably recceing the countryside and looking at the strongest positions. And he probably knew that this position of Mont St Jean would be one of the stronger positions to fight a defensive battle. And so that was why he was probably happy to fall back on it this morning, even though he's in a strong position here. But of course, Napoleon now is going to threaten his left flank by moving troops across from the battlefield of Ligny. All right, let's jump back in. And I think what we'll do is we'll take a little break here. So if you're new to the channel, what I do is I'm always live. I'm always flying live. I'm talking live, and I'll have a break every sort of 20 minutes for a couple of minutes. Allows me to chop it up. So if you don't want to watch this long live stream, you'll be able to watch it later on YouTube. They're all broken up into these little chunks. Please comment below and be part of the production. If you have Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, you'll find me. You can fly with me. I'm on European West server, so come over and say hello. And otherwise, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment below. And if you do comment below, you'll find that I'll talk about it in a future stream, and we'll go and see it. You'll see stuff popping up, by the way, all the time. There'll be playlists on Waterloo, playlists on D-Day. There's co-pilot playlists. There's Minecraft cathedral builds, all at the top there for your general entertainment. And I will see you in a moment when we come back, and we'll continue the story of Wellington's withdrawal from Quatre Bras.